As Sid, the main character, departs by train to the city for his studies, he assumes Alpha and the others have grown tired of his false cult of Diablo idea and have bid him goodbye. He continues by saying that he would strive to be the strongest even if he were the last person on the planet. Then it is revealed that on the day he passed away in the previous world, he attempted to learn magic but was unsuccessful, so he jumped in front of a truck. He arrives at the Midgar Kingdom's heavily populated royal capital. There, he will attend the Dark Knight's Midgar Academy. He has a dorm room and has adapted well for 7 months. As they go to the academy, Skell and Pa, 2 new friends he's acquired, remind him of the wager they made for the lowest test marks by proposing the most popular girl in school. Sid reassures them that they shouldn't worry since he has a great plan to approach her in the stereotypical student role, only to be denied. When he sees her reject someone else later at school, his friends warn him that he will end up like him. Later, he proposes to Princess Alexia in the most rom-com-ish way imaginable, and she agrees, much to his astonishment. As they prepare for lunch, his friends remark that if someone as average-looking as Sid had his way with a stunning lady like Alexia, even they would have a chance. They are surprised to find her standing next to them, and she requests their permission to join them for lunch. Then a variety of regal feasts are set out on their table, which Sid eats without guilt or remorse. He thinks that by doing this, he will easily persuade her to break up with him, but his plan backfires when she says they should start studying together. In response to him explaining that she is in Section 1 and he is in Section 9, the lowest of the low, she says she talked with her instructor and that he would be moved to her class. The next day, their instructor, Mr. Xenon, introduces him to the class and explains that today, rather than only the royals having access to the first area, anybody who can withstand the public's gaze is allowed to do so. Unlike her sister, who is regarded as the Midgar Kingdom's best Dark Knight, Alexia's assault style is very deliberate and predictable. She replicated his stretches, which he observed while exercising with her, throughout the workout. She then approaches the instructor, with whom she is in a political relationship, and lets him know she is seeing Sid. Later, when Sid warns her not to involve him in disputes, she confesses to him that Skell and Pa, 2 of his friends, had notified her about the proposition and that he must continue the act until Mr. Xenon abandons her. After that, she tosses a coin, which he promptly catches like a cute dog. The next day, when they go for ice cream in the city, she speaks disgustingly about Mr. Xenon. She explains to Sid that she hates Xenon so much because he doesn't have any flaws, in contrast to Sid, who is filled with them. Just as they are about to depart, she offers him another coin, which he gladly takes. Later, on the train, she expresses her discontent with her fencing technique, and he praises it constantly, which enrages her and causes her to pull a blade and point it at him. When the train arrives at the station, she is the first to disembark and says goodbye to him. He thinks it's just a way of saying their relationship is over. The next day, the elite Dark Knights gather at the school and surround him, as Princess Alexia hasn't returned to her chamber since the previous night, and they suspect kidnapping. When they notify him that he is the main suspect, he obeys and realizes how much danger he is in. Episode 4. As Alexia begins to regain consciousness, she discovers she is next to a young mutant human girl in a cage with her wrists and legs bound. Just afterward, a maniacal scientist enters the cell, armed with numerous instruments, and informs her that he intends to use her blood to create a demon, since royal blood contains demon DNA. On the other hand, Sid is being tormented by knights to learn where Alexia is, but since he has learned to endure pain, he chooses to pose as an innocent but pitiful NPC because he thinks it makes him appear cool. Meanwhile, Princess Iris inquires of Xenon regarding Alexia's whereabouts, but he informs her that he has yet to hear any words from Sid. She orders Sid's discharge but instructs him to keep an eye on him once he is free. She apologizes for involving him because she has no personal force to use. He informs her that since she is powerful and a princess, she is being targeted and that this may be the reason for Alexia's disappearance. He then notifies her that all students are under lockdown until the problem is resolved. Meanwhile, Sid's sister, Claire, demands that her brother be released and declares that she will punish the instructors for injuring him, despite the efforts of the other students to calm her down. Sid is later released free, and while riding the train, he becomes aware that he is being followed. He considers mending himself but dismisses the idea because he believes it would make him seem like an insignificant character. After getting off the train and traveling to his room, he comes across someone who whispers to him, later, and discovers Alpha waiting for him in his room. She reports to him that they have been keeping an eye on the cult while expanding Shadow Garden's influence. Sid, in his thoughts, is pleased by Alpha and her other shadows because they still come over to play Cult of Diablo with him, ignorant that Shadow Garden has grown into a strong organization. Sid continues to amuse himself since he knows Alexia has been abducted but thinks the 114 loyal troops are merely actors Alpha recruited. Alpha aims to rescue Alexia with the help of these 114 soldiers. Later, he tells his maid that they will announce their presence to the world, and a blast occurs, which he assumes is Delta. Then, while his army looks for Alexia, Sid emerges from his room and kills the knights who had tormented him. Meanwhile, Alexia is imprisoned in an underground cell, and the scientist comes, screaming that his whole research project has been damaged. He urgently injects Alexia's blood into the mutant girl, causing her to change into a demon. The demon then murders the scientist and frees Alexia. Alexia promptly grabs the keys and her sword and runs away. She stumbles across Xenon, who explains that he sold her to the cult in order for them to set up his promotion to a high-ranking knight since he finds his job as a sword teacher to be too pitiful. As he starts to compare her to her elder sister, Alexia attacks him. Xenon deflects it with ease and smacks her in the face. As he is ready to take her with him, Sid enters and introduces himself as the shadow that hunts the shadows. Episode 5 Xenon reveals himself as one of the cult's main members and charges Sid responsible for recent attacks on the group. Xenon declares that he will be crushed by the future 12th seed of the rounds before aiming his sword and striking him. Sid, though, easily avoids it. Meanwhile, the demon girl rampages across the city, surrounded by black knights. They attack her but she recovers and fights back. Iris then makes an appearance and confronts the demon. She realizes that a direct strike won't be enough to take her down since she will recover. Suddenly, Alpha shows up and begins fighting. She soars into the air and descends while dealing the strike, obliterating the demon to dust and exposing the mutant young child's corpse. After identifying herself to Iris as a member of the Shadow Garden and urging that she keep out of their path, Alpha vanishes. In contrast, Sid outduels Xenon in a fight. Sid's sword technique enthralls Alexia because it captures the essence of the style she has spent her entire life seeking, even though she is unaware of his identity. Xenon becomes irritated as he is consistently dominated during the battle and eats pills that transform him into a demon, declaring that he is the third awakened. He tells Sid that not everyone can control themselves after taking this many pills, but he can because of his incredible power. He then starts attacking him, but Sid starts beating him up with martial arts techniques, so the outcome is the same. Using nuclear explosion principles, Sid detonates a magic bomb to kill Xenon and destroy the majority of the evacuated city to put an end to him and announce his presence to the whole realm. The whole city is bathed in a magical light that, to some, seems elegant while a hell for others. Iris dashes there as soon as she spots the explosion's core. She runs in front of Alexia when she exits the tunnel. She embraces her concerned younger sister, and Alexia thanks her for coming. She tells Sid about the encounter the following day and that she likes her fencing technique now, but not because of him. She then offers to be his genuine girlfriend now that Xenon is gone, but when he refuses, she viciously punishes him. According to Sid, the incident subsequently made headlines as the bodiless murder since no corpse was ever located, and it remained a mystery. Meanwhile, Alpha resumes her investigation of a criminal organization disguised as Shadow Garden. On the other side, Iris discloses that she suspects certain higher officials and demands a full kingdom inquiry into the cult of Diabolos and Shadow Garden. Later, a young girl with pink hair carrying books bumps into Sid, who is drenched in blood. The end. For now. Will Sid ever be free of the cult of Diabolos? Thank you for sticking until the end. Subscribe for more videos like this.